Football is all about fits. Like, when you were like 2, 3 years old and you had that block and you had all those different like square, you had the circle, you had to put in the circle one. I always try to put the square in the circle one. I don't know. It never worked out for me. I figured it out later though. Anyway, football is all about fits. And I think when you are trying to assemble a front office that is going to put your franchise in the best position to be successful, there's a lot that goes into it. A lot that most of us probably don't know about. But I would say that from what I've seen with the two latest hires for the New York Giants, this is a perfect fit. Like I love these two hires in Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. I'm so sorry if I don't know if it's Joe Schoen, Joe Schoen, doesn't matter. I heard on Good Morning Football it was Joe Schoen. And obviously I did some reading up on Schoen, and also listen to the interviews and everything. And there is a lot of things I like about the general manager hire. We'll get into Brian Daboll in a second, but as it pertains to Schoen, I think the best thing about what he brings to the franchise is obviously being in the Buffalo Bills franchise for the last couple of seasons has been big. Been a part of some big drafts, and I think at the end of the day, it really does come down to what has he done? What has Joe Schoen done in the NFL? And I think when you take a look at it, it's one thing to have success, like for one season with an NFL team, but to have continued success with the Buffalo Bills, I think it's even more impressive because there's a lot that goes into having sustained success in the NFL. And the Bills, I mean, I've said it from, I think I've said it for at least the last 2 years. They have probably the best roster in the entire NFL, or pretty close to it. So I think that when you come from that kind of a background, you see how rosters have been put together and how that all works out. You take a lot away from it, and you can see a lot of these guys are able to have success throughout their careers and do some great things. So I think now that they have Schoen and in and making a difference, I think it's going to be It's going to be about building the process in the right way. And if you just look at the interviews that he's already having, I love it. I absolutely love it. I know you can't just look at one interview and look at and hope that it's a franchise hire that will last for decades. But I really like it. He was the former Buffalo Bills assistant GM. And I think, when you think about it, there's a lot to like about it, especially what we talked about with the Buffalo Bills. And it's not even just about the quarterback. I think, and we'll get into that in a second because that's the biggest thing. But it's about constructing a roster, being able to get pieces in every different shape and form. And I can think of one just off the top of my head. Spencer Brown, he's their offensive tackle. He was coming out of Northern Iowa. He was a third-round selection. And I'm thinking, okay, I watched him at the Senior Bowl. I watched him at Northern Iowa, and I was like, I just don't know how he's going to fit in the NFL. I mean, 6'8", 290. Is he going to be able to handle the bull rush in the NFL? That was a big question for me. But, he came out and had a very good season. Like, it's just, picks like that you look at, you get value for, you get guys that you might have a little bit of questions about, but you find a guy that overall, and you find guys, rather, overall, that just fit your scheme, that fit what you're trying to build for your team. And I think moving forward, Joe Schoen is going to be a great find. And I think he's going to be one of those GMs that, yes, he takes chances, but I think it's going to be about building the overall cohesion and the overall pieces that the Giants need to succeed. So I love the Schoen hire, and I'm really excited to see what he does with the Giants. Now, again, I do think that, just looking at the franchise, the Bills, they were good for a while, like they were like on the cusp, but when Schoen and everybody started to go in there and really make decisions, that's when they started to turn the corner. So I think Giants fans need to be really excited about this. Now, on the Brian Daboll side of things, I love it. Like, it's one thing to, obviously for when you get these guys that work together, they want to get guys that they're familiar with, that they've worked with before. Obviously Schoen wanted to hire Daboll, I assume for purposes that have to do with how well he handled the Josh Allen situation. And that's another thing. Being able to draft a quarterback in the NFL in this day and age is so big. And I think at the end of the day, you have to be able to even in the worst case, you have to find young quarterback talent in the NFL. I think that's so big. I mean, whether it's the first round, the third round, whatever, if you have the ability to do that, to identify quarterback talent, that's so big. So I think and develop it. It's one thing to find it, another thing to develop it. It goes hand in hand. And I think Schoen can find it, Daboll can develop it. Because if you just look at what happened with Josh Allen, a guy that had raw talent, athleticism for days, and I think he had the best arm, at least arguably, other than, was that the Patrick Mahomes year? So arguably in the entire draft that year. So I think when you think about this, Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, I think they're the perfect fits. Brian Daboll is going to have his work cut out for them. Moving forward, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go for the Giants at first. Now, it might take a little bit, but that's fine. Not necessarily, and I also have to specify this. It might take a little bit to kind of get things rolling here, but it's not. I repeat, it's not because of a lack of talent. Daniel Jones, I feel like with Brian Daboll, I think, I don't want to say Daniel Jones is in his last leg of his career, but I think he's on that point of his career where he could either be a franchise quarterback or, something, not a franchise quarterback. Like, he could go and be a backup for the rest of his career, which I don't think could happen because I think he's got too much talent to succeed. Like, I think to not succeed. Excuse me. Sorry, I barely had my morning coffee yet. But overall, I really like Daniel Jones and what he has. 6'5", 220. He's got a lot of the athleticism that you like. He's very comparable to Josh Allen. So he is a clay that I think Brian Daboll can mold and moving forward. And again, it's not like the Giants don't have talent. Saquon Barkley, I think Daniel Jones could really find himself under Brian Daboll. Kenny Galladay, Sterling Shepard, a wide receiver as well. Kadarius Toney had a big year. Darius Slayton, I don't even know what to say about Darius Slayton anymore. He's talented, but he drops balls. It's just like, I love the guy, but man, please. You also got Evan Ingram, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Their defensive line is coming together. Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence. Also, that defense, Azeez Ojulari, I love him. James Bradbury at corner, Logan Ryan, Adoree Jackson. They have talent. It's one thing to be able to draft talent and get talent there. It's another thing to be able to develop that talent. So I really like the hires here. I think that the Giants are heading in the right direction. Look at, if you look at other teams' success, what they do, they draft well, they develop players, and that's exactly what the Bills have done. And that yes, they may be just taking a couple of Buffalo Bills products, but overall, I think these are great hires, and I think the Giants are heading in the right direction, especially with perfect fits at two key important positions in a franchise, in a head coach and general manager. But let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome. We love every single one of you. Check out our website at thesportsbriefpodcast.com. Also in the description down below, you'll find all of our social media platforms, so give us a like and a follow there. And also remember to leave us a sub and listen on our iTunes. We'd love that as well. Wasn't a great way of putting that, but we'll roll with it. And finally, if you have anything else you would like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put it in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about the recent hires of Joe Schoen for general manager and Brian Daboll for head coach of the New York Giants.